Okay, this is an interview of Dr. Kenny Wallace. He's a minister at First Baptist Church of Locust, and I'd just like to ask him some questions. First question is, what was growing up in the South like for you?
Growing up in the South, for me, well, it was, as a child, it was pretty difficult because of family situations. But I suppose no harder than a lot of other people in that time. You know, lived on a farm for a while. Dad was a tenant farmer. Struggled just to make a living, get by, kind of thing. But as a child, I was on the farm most of the time until I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. So that wasn't really, someone else was in responsibility of that, you know. Yeah.
What church did you go to, and what do you remember about it the most?
Went to Westfield Creek Baptist Church, which was about a half a mile from my home. And the thing I remember about it most was the, I guess, the pastor, and the preaching, the fellowship we have with the church family, and the times when we would get together and have Bible school, things like that.
Okay. What was your favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject in school was probably typing. I like typing.
Okay. What was your first car that you owned?
1957 Pontiac.
What color was it?
Blue and white.
Blue and white. What was your first job that you had?
My first job was working on a milk truck with my uncle, hopping houses and delivering milk to stores.
You didn't deliver to any houses?
And houses.
You delivered to houses?
Yeah, houses and stores, yeah. More houses, really, than we did stores. But we did stores and also the houses, yeah.
How has the world changed from when you were younger?
Better
or worse?
You want a simple answer for that?
Way.
I think in a way the world has changed better because of modern conveniences, opportunities for young people, environmental changes as far as being able to control the environment, different things like that through modern conveniences. But I think the moral and spiritual climate of the world has changed so drastically since I was a child that it's a lot worse. Yeah.
How has the church changed since you were younger? For the better or worse? Overall, I mean, not
overall,
just in this area, just I guess throughout the world. Overall,
yeah, I think the church, in some respects, has changed for the better. In some respects, it's changed for the worse. It all depends upon how you look at it. I think commitment on people's part has really changed. I think faith in the heart of individuals has changed. I think that the willingness to be a devout Christian has changed a lot.
Is that for the better or worse? Or
I think that's for the worse.
For the worse.
Yeah, I think the lack of commitment on people's part has really become detrimental to the church as an organization. Yeah, as an institution.
How has politics changed since you were younger?
Become more corrupt.
More corrupt?
Yeah, more and more corrupt. Yeah. Of course, I thank God for our country, for America. I thank God for the political parties, but I think money has become so involved in politics now that it's just become more and more corrupt over the years.
How did life change when you got married? For the better or for the worse?
Well, really, I think my personal life changed for the better when Maria and I got married. Because we were committed more to each other than to, of course, individuals ourselves. But there's a lot more responsibility, you know. But I've always, I have no complaints about my married life.
That's great.
Yeah.
rare in this day and age.
Yeah. Well, you gotta have something to base it on too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta have a foundation to lay that
Oh,
on.
yeah.
We had problems like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
but it's what you do with the problems. You know, when you have them, that you have to work through. But in time that you marry or get married, then your responsibility is turned toward the other person more than yourself, if you love that person correctly.
How did life change when you had kids?
About the same way it did when I got married, in that the responsibility changed from, and the focus really changes from when you get married, your focus is toward one another. And when you have children, your focus turns a little bit more away from each other, and your focus becomes the children, taking care of the children, supplying the children's needs, different things like that. But it was all, a good experience in relationship to what we were doing. But the main emphasis becomes the children. When you get married, it's from yourself to your wife and to the responsibility of a husband and wife. And then when you have children, it's the responsibility from your husband and wife to the children. You have focus on that, plus your job responsibilities and whatever else. Yeah, that's the basic change.
When times got hard in your life, how did you stay afloat?
Well, to be honest with you, Jacob, things have basically all my life been kind of tough, been kind of hard because of my family situation. When we were kids, my father became very sick with tuberculosis, and then my mother became sick with tuberculosis. Both of them stayed in the hospital for a long time. We went to orphanage home. We stayed with grandparents. But when times got hard, it always seemed like the Lord was there to carry us through. And had grandparents and a mother who taught us about the Lord Jesus, and depending on Him, depending on faith, depending on prayer, and then God always put people there at the right time to help us in some way. So I guess staying afloat meant to trust in Him and depend on friends and others.
Okay. What was your favorite thing to do as a child?
What age are you talking about?
Yes, from...
Teenager or just younger than that?
Yes, teenager.
Okay. As a teenager, my favorite thing was to play music. Had a rock and roll band, played music, country music, rock and roll music. Also began to have an experience with the Lord very young, so I enjoyed going to church and things like that.
You were a rocker?
Oh, yes.
Imagine that.
Yeah, from the time I was about 14 to the time I was about 17. Yeah, actually about 16. Yeah, played rock and roll music and played in the band and all that stuff.